Welcome to Timeout with Coach Mike Miller. Coach Miller is the basketball coach with the most wins in LACC history, coaching his teams to a national record of 14 straight conference championships, breaking UCLA's old record of 13. Coach Miller is the first basketball coach in California basketball history to win a state championship at both the high school and college levels. Coach Miller has been honored as Coach of the Year 18 times and has produced almost 100 Division I players. For the next 2 hours, get ready for stats, facts, rants, and your opportunity to chat with one of the most successful basketball coaches in the entire country and his friends. Timeout with Coach Mike Miller.
Hey, we're here. It's live. Timeout with Coach Miller at Skidrow Studios. Hey, Scott, what do you think?
It's a pretty cold day so far today.
Yeah.
Got some great guests on that I'm looking forward to.
Me too. Hey, we're at Skidrow Studios, but we're really not on Skid Row.
No, we're not even really Skid Row adjacent, although I do have homeless people approaching me all the way here.
Nice. You know, we've been saying we're Skid Row adjacent for a long time, but like you pointed out in our last show, we're not even really Skid Row adjacent. Skid Row is, how far from here, Scott?
It's about 4 blocks. We're really more like the jewelry district.
Right. Yeah. Good point. So
the homeless people have bling here.
Yeah. Nice. Well, you know, I remember when
got a diamond.
Got a diamond. I remember when I used to join you several years ago for Skid Row karaoke.
Yep. I'm going to be going down there this Wednesday, actually. I was planning on stopping down there.
Nice. I might have to join you if we don't have a game.
Well, it's always fun just to stop down there, do a little singing.
That's right. I've seen you sing there. You're amazing. And you do the electric slide with the group at the end, don't you?
That's right. I remember when we went with the Korean basketball team to a karaoke room in Koreatown.
Nice. But that wasn't Skid Row karaoke, was it?
No, that was authentic Korean karaoke.
Complete with Crown Royal and fruit and girls sitting next to you at the table.
And Asian executives passing out.
Yeah, good point. I like the Skid Row karaoke better.
Well, the food was better at the Korean place, but
yeah.
I felt a little bit better about touching the microphone.
Yeah, but, I gotcha.
But Skid Row karaoke is more satisfying on a personal level.
It's more fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. No drinking, no drugs, no dirty dancing.
There you go. And Skid Row karaoke is really on Skid Row, though, isn't it?
Oh, that's on the full-on Skid Row.
And where is that located?
I think that's like 5th and San Julian on the corner right across from the Midnight Mission.
Right. And over here, we're at like 7th and Olive.
Yeah, we're right around the corner from like 7 Grand and Malo Malo. So when I'm leaving, I'm really just dodging attorneys. And frankly, I'd rather be dodging homeless people.
Not yet. Okay. Well, keep them in the green room. Okay, Jeremy? So anyway, it's great to be here, Scott. We're happy to have another episode of Time Out with Coach Miller.
The #1 show at Skid Row Studios.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Someone told us that.
Sounds good.
It sounds great.
I say we go with it.
Okay.
No one's telling us not to say it. So.
Okay. Dark Mark may have something to say about that.
Dark Mark's my boy. And listen to Dark Mark's show, too.
Okay.
See some really weird stuff on there.
Hey, how do you get our show on iTunes, Scott?
You go to iTunes and you type in Time Out with Coach Miller and subscribe. It's totally free. You can catch up on all the back episodes. We've had some really great shows the past couple weeks.
Yeah, we have. We've had some great shows. We had Westchester High School in here.
Yep, and we had the director from the John Wooden Award.
Last week, or no, it was this week. Earlier in the week, we had the John Wooden Award director in here. That was awesome.
So that's like shows that if you missed those, you can always go into iTunes, type it, Time Out with Coach Miller, click on that, and catch up on some of these really cool shows. And by the way, speaking of the previous shows, I was thinking about a topic that we've gone over the last couple weeks about the strength of schedule at the beginning of the season. And I actually have some thoughts on that now. And I think that there's a reason, and you probably already know this reason because you're a basketball coach. You're just trying to, get the conversation going. But I think it's important to have that light early schedule because unlike football, college football, where you lose one game and it means millions of dollars in lost revenue and any shot at, the championship, with college basketball, you play a lot more games, and so I think it's important to get those games in there, and you can lose one. It's not that big a deal.
Scott, if you're in one of the power conferences, and nowadays there's only about 4 or 5 power conferences, they've diluted it and changed it and mixed the conferences up and changed the teams. If you're in one of the power conferences, you actually don't have to worry about your RPI at all. You can play like UCLA does, 8 cream puffs to start the year at home. The reason why is when you get to the conference, you're going to play, half your games are going to be against teams in the top 50 or top 60 RPI.
Exactly.
So it's going to raise your RPI from, the mid 200s all the way up into, the top 100.
Exactly. And if you're going to be facing, Stanford twice, Oregon twice, Arizona twice, with the Duke thrown in there, and you're playing all these SC, even though they're not that great a team, they're a rival. And, when you're playing those teams 2 times a piece over the course of the year, that's 10 solid games. And then you have conference tournament and then the NCAA tournament. So they'll play plenty of solid teams.
Well, the NCAA tournament doesn't matter in terms of RPI because at that point you're done using RPI. RPI is the tool to help them seed for the NCAA. Now, what's interesting is, the RPI measures the strength of your opponent and the strength of their opponents.
Exactly.
So it's sort of like this filter down effect. So, UCLA plays the 8 rummies at home in a row to open the year. They don't leave home. Then they go to Missouri. Now, personally, I think that's bad scheduling because if I'm UCLA, I don't want to be shell-shocked and play my first road game at a team that's ranked in the top 15, and I've never had a tune-up on the road. I think it's bad scheduling for UCLA. I think a smarter schedule for UCLA is play 4 or 5 rummies at home to start the year. Then you go play like a UC Santa Barbara on the road that you can still win the game, but you get that experience of the road and it's not a far trip. You sort of get your feet wet, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then you go and play the bigger team on the road, the Missouri, and you have that confidence that, hey, we've already been on the road. We've won a game. We're 1-0 on the road. I don't think it's good scheduling to play 8 in a row at home when you know you're going to win all 8. And then you have to go play a Missouri on the road, which you can get your butt handed to you.
Well, I think that, I believe they do have a Colorado game on the road, as I recall. But
no, that's a conference game, and that's later.
I forgot that the Pac-10 has expanded into the mountains.
I still call it the Pac-10, Scott.
Yeah.
And I refuse to call it the Pac-12, and I'm not going to. Utah and Colorado, hey, to me, they're just visiting.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, the Pac-10 is the Conference of Champions, and what has Colorado or Utah won?
Not much.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the Conference of Champions and 2 teams from the mountains.
Good point. So... anyway, the thing is that if you're in one of the major power conferences, you don't have to worry about your RPI because you're going to play plenty of conference teams that are going to have high RPIs.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to go ahead and beat up on the rummies and get a glossy record. But that said, if you're going to play the Dukes and the Missouris and throw in a few of those guys non-conference, you need to be prepared for them first. You need to go and play a UC Santa Barbara on the road, or maybe you go and you play a Harvard on the road, who's a pretty good team.
Yeah, they're great.
And, you still can beat them, but you get that confidence. You don't want to just jump into a heavyweight fight and you've never had a tune-up for the heavyweight fight.
Yeah, you don't want to step in with the champ if you've never taken a punch to the face.
Yeah, I don't think that's good scheduling at all. I think UCLA wanted to help Alford, first-year coach, so they gave this schedule that is unusual for UCLA. UCLA does not play 8 in a row at home. They have never done that. They have played 4, 5, 6 in a row at home. They've never done 8.
How far in advance do they schedule?
In basketball, it's not like football. Basketball, you're scheduling even in the summer sometimes prior to the season, and they're not long-term deals. Okay, and you're setting those games up as you go, and what happens is coaches get jobs and they hook up their friends. If Alford has a guy who's a former college teammate who's a coach, he can say, hey, you can come and play us here and we'll give you a lot more money than we would normally because you're my buddy. And they do that all the time. That's how they reward their friends.
Sure.
And so there's sometimes, Scott, in college basketball, they're scheduling games literally in August before the season starts because they have to fill one or two dates still. Syracuse in particular, I remember talking to their assistant coach in charge of scheduling a number of years ago, and he said, hey, we're still one game short. This was like the end of August. We can't release our schedule. We're offering anyone who will come and play, we don't care who they are, as long as they're Division I, $90,000 guarantee.
Wow.
To come and play us. That was a lot of money.
Who did they end up getting? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I think it was UTEP.
Wow, that's actually a pretty good, road game.
It is, but UTEP did it. I think it was UTEP, and I think their coach. I knew him at the time, and I think he told me. He said, "Hey, what we look at it is like this. We needed a game. The $90,000 will pay for charter airplanes for our conference schedule, so we don't have to be on Southwest."
Sure.
We can actually take and hire a charter plane so we can be home and sleeping in our own beds after that game.
Yep.
We don't have to stay over and catch a flight the next morning.
Yep.
The players miss less class.
Yep.
The coaches are back home with their wives and their families. He said it's worth it for us to take that loss.
Yeah. And they get the experience of facing, a major,
right,
powerhouse in the NCAA.
Right.
So they can measure where they are.
No question. But he said, more importantly, we know we're going to take a loss, but he said, think about it like this. If we can fly to every conference game on a charter plane, before and after, it cuts down the wear and tear on the players. He said it might win us 2 games in conference.
Yeah.
All the other teams we're playing are taking Southwest Airlines.
Sure.
So he said in the end, it was worth it. And, he was right.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with tall players, too.
Yeah, no question.
Like I'm 6'4", very hard to ride on Southwest.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, your knees are in your lap.
Yeah, no kidding.
And that's without having to play, a game.
Yeah,
land.
Right. Good point. Listen, we want to welcome our guests here shortly to the show, Scott. We've got a couple guests out in the green room, and we're going to bring them in right after we take a short commercial break. Jeremy's in the sound booth tonight. Jeremy, are you there tonight, bud?
Hey, how's it going?
Jeremy, it's great to have you back. We've missed you the last couple shows.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Jeremy's our guy, Scott. We have our Skidrow Studios Christmas party tomorrow night at Jeremy's pad.
Shaved a beard, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jeremy's our guy, and he's the chief of the studio, and he's in the sound booth tonight. Scott, great to have him here, and we'll see him at the party tomorrow night, our annual Skidrow's Christmas party.
Yeah, I'm going to be trying to make that party. I have a show in Echo Park. So
let's hear about your show before we go to break.
I'm going to be performing a extended storytelling set at Lot 1 Cafe in Echo Park. That's on Sunset Boulevard, just east of Echo Park Boulevard. And I'll be performing with 3 bands. The first one, Wages, is kind of a space rock band. Black Heartthrobs, they're kind of a power pop band. And also a band called All Right, also a power pop band. So it should be a really good show. It's $5.
Nice. Now, Scott, where is this at again?
This is on Sunset Boulevard at Lot 1 Cafe, and that's 1 block east of Echo Park Boulevard in Echo Park.
Right. Now, I think I've been there to see you perform.
Yes. You came to the first one that I did there last month.
Awesome venue. I want to tell the listeners, great food. They've got a lot of beer.
Yep. You left a couple beers, and I drank them. I drank yours and Bruce's.
Wow.
After you left.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I should have just had them delivered to your to the stage. But Scott, I enjoyed watching you perform. Awesome performance. A great venue. I encourage everyone to go out and see you perform and to experience the venue. $5 cover charge, that's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is Hollywood. It's $5.
Well, we're spoiled here. We get a lot of options, but Lot 1 Cafe is definitely one of my favorite venues to perform at and also to catch shows at. So I'm very excited to be back on the bill again.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to to try to get over there tomorrow. We have a game tomorrow. Coach Miller is a volunteer coach at Los Angeles College Prep Academy, and having a good time with that. You know what? We have a game tomorrow in San Diego, and it's a 3:30 game. So if I can get back in time, I'm going to be going by and checking your show out before the Skidrow Studios Christmas party.
Nice. That's a tough call because even for me, because I know that Skidrow Studios Christmas party is going to be pretty hot because I've checked out the shows on the other channels, and I had to come in here one day to pick up a power cord that I left behind, and one of the other shows was filming that day, and I got to meet the talented ladies on that show, and I hope they'll be at the party too.
Oh boy, I hope they're not porn stars.
They could be. I didn't ask them, but they could be.
Oh boy.
I mean, just like if they wanted to be.
Gotcha. Good. Well, that's good if they wanted to be, because we have a straight-laced family show here at Skidrow Studios. Time Out with Coach Miller.
Yep. Yeah, we're PG-13.
Nice. Well, listen, we're going to go to break in a minute, and then we're going to bring in our first guest, Coach John Mosley from the East Los Angeles Huskies. Before we go to break, Jeremy, I want to give a quick shout-out to Mr. Robert White Sr. I gave him a shout-out on our last show. At the end of the show, I think he was already in bed, so I want to do it at the beginning of the show before he goes to bed. So, Mr. Robert White Sr., if you're listening tonight, which I probably think you are, big shout out to you. Your son's playing really good. Really proud of him. I know you're proud of him. And he's on his way to getting a scholarship, I think. So, anyway, Jeremy, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is Coach Miller from Time Out with Coach Miller. I'm here excited to tell you about Medicus Graphics Center located in Los Angeles, California. Medicus is the official printer and graphic designer of Time Out with Coach Miller. Medicus does a tremendous job for any printing need from big to small, whether you want to print a book or a 4-color poster or business cards. Go see my friends at Medicus Graphics Center in Los Angeles, California, located at 2030 Hyperion Avenue. Tell them Coach Miller sent you. Medicus will take care of you like they've taken care of me.
16 made a dream with this basketball. Coach Miller on the court and we going hard. Pass the rock to the paint. I give it my all or be like Chris Paul. Shoot the 3-point, y'all. Look, it's Time Out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships. We winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling. Cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss.
Hey, we're back. We're live. We're on the air. Welcome back to Time Out with Coach Miller at Skidrow Studios. Scott, we're not even Skidrow adjacent, are we?
No, we're in the jewelry district.
Yeah.
I actually had a job out here at one of the diamond companies, way back before I knew you. This is back when I was doing stand-up comedy. And I got a gig doing collections for the diamond company. And then they took me to Las Vegas for a diamond show. And they were cheap. So they had me as a security guard.
Oh, boy. That is cheap.
And I was weighing maybe 170 at the time, 6'4", 170.
That is cheap.
And I had to stare at tables filled with diamond rings, which are all blinging and shiny. And I'd been up all night partying because I was in Vegas. They were all asleep, but I was on the strip. And then what would happen is people would have diamond rings on all their fingers, 3, 4 down, because they were trading and selling. And I would have to watch them as they'd pick up diamonds and put them down. And I can't believe nothing was stolen. A good diamond thief would have totally made a killing at this particular table.
Yeah, with you being security. Anyway, well, thank God you're not doing security full time. Scott Schultz is a professional storyteller.
That's right. Former Diamond Security.
And former comedian.
And former comedian.
Nice. And former
sports editor.
Yes.
And former magazine thing. And now currently a college basketball talk show co-host.
There you go.
On the #1 rated show at Skidrow Studios.
There you go. And so one of the things that Scott didn't mention is Scott helped me form the women's basketball team at LA City College. I'm wearing my city jacket tonight, which is appropriate because across from me, we have a junior college coach in studio, Coach John Mosley from the East Los Angeles College Huskies.
Go Huskies.
I should have brought my city jacket too.
Yeah, well, we can root for the Huskies now because City is no more. There is no more sports program at Los Angeles City College, sadly. But we do have a thriving athletic department and sports program at East Los Angeles College under the leadership of an outstanding athletic director, Al Cohn, and Coach John Mosley is the men's basketball coach, and he's in studio with us tonight. John, congratulations on your last, I guess I want to say
5 games.
5 games.
Yeah. And I was actually checking to see, you said athletic program. I was checking to see if the women's won. They played tonight as well. But we've been had a nice little 5-game run here. We started 0-2. It was tough. We got a lot of young guys, but then we got on a nice little stretch. And guys are fired up right now.
Started 0-2, Scott. Wow. Out at the College of the Canyons tournament with one of my former assistant coaches, Howard Fisher, the coach at College of the Canyons. He was before you came to work for me, Scott.
Okay.
So, John, you go out there to College of the Canyons.
Yeah, I think, and as a matter of fact, I think he set me up, man. Howard set me up. I was 0-2 that tournament.
0-2 to start the year.
0-2. It's Howard's fault.
Not a good start.
Not
and
a
then
good start.
5-0 since then, Scott.
Well, that means that the teams, they're coagulating now. They're working as a team now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, Coach Mosley. Now, before we do, pull your microphone a little closer to you. There you go. Good. And you're not used to this radio, TV stuff
radio,
yet.
TV thing, no.
So, Coach Miller's always in here teaching people, get it 3 inches from your face now, and don't touch the mic, just move the boom. Anyway, Chris Maxwell is now in the house with us. And Chris, you see, Jeremy's upgraded the mics. Look what you guys have across the table for me.
I see. I walked in, and it's like walking into your home, and your wife changed all the furniture around.
Yeah, nice. Better camera angles.
I see. I'm looking at the camera that's looking at you, and
yeah, you and Coach Mosley are nice camera shots right now.
Okay.
So anyway, it's a good thing John is married. He's a good-looking young guy, better looking than all the rest of us in here. And good thing he's married because the ladies would be after him right now. He's on camera. So, Coach Mosley, you start out 0-2. Mm-hmm. You're 5-0 since then. Scott said that things are coming together for you. Tell us how and why.
Well, initially to start, I'm surprised we're actually doing as well as we are. We got out of the 16 guys that we originally had on the roster, 12 of them were all freshmen and coming from different areas, some from out of state, some local, some distant local. And there's a lot of different personalities, a lot of different talent level guys. And you're only dealing with 4 returners and really 2 returners that played, which we had in studio last time, Aaron Cheatham, Zach Hinton, who's a local product from Franklin High School, and then Frankie Aguilar, who's from Garfield High School. So, and seeing the most minutes, you're talking about Aaron and Zach. And so now you're dealing with 12 guys who never played college basketball, the physicality of it, the speed, the tempo, the mental aspect, all those different things are coming into play. And for them to turn around after 2 games actually is pretty amazing to make a run that they've made thus far. So it's pretty tough with 12 freshmen.
Now that 5-0, what's interesting is the 5-0. They beat some pretty good teams. They beat San Bernardino Valley College, who's a powerhouse. I don't know where they were ranked. John, you may know where they're ranked.
They were above us, and the state they were top 10.
Always a good team.
Were they top 10 in the state or Southern California?
At the time, top 10 in the state. And,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean a powerhouse.
Powerhouse,
and
yeah.
Great players. They beat Ventura, who's another
Always good.
good, and another team that was probably ranked.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you beat San Bernardino and Ventura as 2 of those 5 wins. Beat Rio Hondo at Rio Hondo. I happened to see the game, and Rio Hondo had the game before it beat Cerritos, who was ranked in the top 2 or 3. So Rio Hondo was a pretty good team, John.
totally different than they've been. They've gotten a lot better.
They usually go back and forth with their teams, and they always usually have scrappy teams every year.
Yeah, scrappy team. They got a new coach, a local coach named Bob Lowe. He's pretty good. He's been at I think Lucerna High School for about 25 years and has always won and won a lot of CIF championships. And he's got them going over there. So
Yeah, and they're scrappy, Chris, but they also have a little more talent than normal. Rio Hondo does. So I saw that game. You beat them at Rio Hondo. You beat San Bernardino on a neutral site. You beat Ventura on a neutral site. Those are some good wins there. I mean, it wasn't 5 rummies like UCLA has been playing.
Right.
You know, just beating up on Drexel and Sacramento State and stuff. I mean, you beat some pretty good teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know what? You just when you go and a lot of things. I heard you talking about scheduling a little bit before, and scheduling plays a big part. I kind of knew coming in. I think last year I said, "Hey, we got our whole team is going to be gone," and we were fortunate enough to put together a schedule where we had 2 games, and then we had kind of a big rest, almost a week or a week and a half. And it was kind of strategically designed to kind of, based on what I knew had coming back. And so it gave us a week to kind of prepare for the next game. And then after we played Rio Hondo, we had another almost a week to prepare for San Bernardino. And so I think some of that played a part in us being able to prepare. After we saw what we were doing wrong the first 2 games,
Sure.
we had plenty of time to really get after it and
Make the adjustments.
Yeah, something I learned from Coach Miller, man. Scheduling plays a part in it as well. You got to schedule proper way and strategically plan those games, space them out properly. And sometimes you want to play them together, depending on the team you have. So
Scheduling is very important, Scott, and Scott and I were talking about that before before you came in studio, John. We were talking about UCLA's schedule, and I explained to the listeners that UCLA's made a huge mistake. They're playing 8 rummies at home in a row. Then they jump in to Missouri at Missouri. Big mistake. Much better off playing 4 or 5 rummies at home. Then you go play a UC Santa Barbara on the road, get the win, get your players used to playing on a road, get you used to the success of winning a game on the road, and then you go and tackle a big boy on the road. Right. You don't want to go in and have your first road game against a team who's a top 15 team, and you're playing in front of 19,000 hostile fans, and you're not used to that.
That's a good point.
Bad move. So, UNLV, same thing. UNLV's played all home games. Now they've only played 6, and now they play at Arizona tomorrow, who's ranked number 2 in the nation. It's going to be rough. Now, Tuesday night we had the head coach from UNLV on as a guest, and he's obviously. What did he say, Scott? He's not nervous, but he's not excited. What you pinned him down?
He didn't sound nervous, but he's definitely focused on it. I mean, how can you not be focused on? You're going to play Arizona at Arizona,
right? But it was either you or Chris pinned him down and asked him a tough question of, "Do you feel excited or nervous or what?" And he said he felt neither excited nor nervous, but. I don't remember what word choice.
Well, he was just. I think he was more anxious just to get the game because, nervous. He's not the one playing. I mean, he is coaching, so he does have a stake in the outcome, but it's still up to the players. But I think he was just, anxious to get in there and see what his team is going to be about during that game.
Well, I told him today. I said the one thing you better do is focus your guys on having 5 guys rebound, because if your guards don't rebound, you're going to get your butt handed to you at Arizona. I mean, they're going to pound that glass hard.
Yeah.
If you have guards leaking out, or if you have guards at the 3-point line instead of defensive rebounding, it's going to be a long, long, long night. And again, like UCLA, big mistake. much better off going to play, give you an example, your UNLV. Go play Southern Utah or Weber State on the road before you go and play Arizona on the road. Get some success. Get a road win. Get your players some confidence, and then go play one of the heavy hitters on the road.
Yeah.
Same idea. So scheduling is critical. I think what's happened in California Junior College, Chris, since I've been coaching in it, the state has changed how they allow the teams to schedule and play games. When I was coaching in California Junior College for all those years, almost 20 years, we had a 28-game schedule. And now there's a 24-game schedule. The state took away 4 games. This was done about maybe 3-4 years ago under the auspices of saving money, the state budget crisis at the time. Now, since then, the state budget crisis has more or less evaporated. I mean, there was, in the last election, Scott, you weren't here. You were back in Boston.
Yeah.
Chris, you might have been in Hawaii. But the last election, there was a specific proposition statewide on the ballot that funded community colleges and increased the funding, and it passed, thereby doing away with the state budget crisis.
So wouldn't that also be a great opportunity to restart the athletic department at LA City College?
Well, of course. The only athletic department in the state that's been eliminated in its entirety out of over 100 California junior colleges in the last 5 years. The only one.
Yeah, I can't let that statement slide by without, letting that point in there, because, that's an athletic department that's been there for decades.
You mean since 1929?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's
Almost
one of the
100 years, huh?
flagship community college programs.
To my life.
Well, what I'm going to say is this, is that it is considered the flagship community college of the Los Angeles Community College District. It's the first one, and the district itself acknowledges that. I mean, East LA is the biggest of the 9 community colleges in the LA CCD.
And they have a great athletic department.
Exactly, under the leadership of Al Cohn. But what we need to say is, the truth of the matter is, Los Angeles City College is the flagship community college of the district and maybe of Southern California. This is where UCLA started.
Exactly.
UCLA started on the campus in East Hollywood at Los Angeles City College before they moved across town to Westwood.
Yep, I got my associates there.
So this is the flagship school of the district, and it's the only one without any sports teams. Pretty sad. So, but back to our point here, Scott, about the scheduling. So Coach Mosley has got these breaks in his schedule that he was referring to that are a week and a half long, which, yeah, they help a new team, like he's talking about, practice. They get some time in the gym. But, there's nothing like doing in order to learn.
Yeah.
You learn a lot by doing. You learn a lot by playing. And it's a shame that East LA, that whether it be Chaffee, San Bernardino, Ventura, any of the fine community college programs that are out there, it's a shame that the student athletes are shortchanged 4 games off their normal schedule still to this day after 4 or 5 years. It's a shame that those student athletes lose those 4 opportunities to impress college coaches, right, to earn a scholarship. It's a shame that those student athletes, both male and female, in men's and women's basketball, are losing those games and those opportunities to play. That's not right.
And why aren't they putting those back in if it was removed, to handle a financial crisis that's no longer
a financial crisis?
Exactly.
Well, I guess one would have to inquire with the 3C2A, the California Community College Athletic Association, and ask them. They're the ones who eliminated the games. And again, I understand, okay, cost containment, you want to cut back, but think about it, Scott. you have a 28-game schedule and you eliminate 4 games. That's over 10% of your schedule, right? 10%, Chris, would be 2.8.
Right.
I mean, I'm not great in math, but I think it's almost 15% of your schedule is eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of sad that, that they never brought those games back. And even, like you said, just for the chance to impress college coaches, because you never know who's going to be at those games.
Oh, it's really sad. Now let's get back to Coach Mosley's team in specific. Coach, you've got a game coming up. Tell us about your next opponent.
Probably our biggest challenge, at least on paper or what everybody says. I think San Jacinto College has a lot of good players. They've traditionally been good each and every year, one of the top teams in the state. Patrick Springer, he does a great job of bringing, great talent. He's, in the past, been a 4-year coached at the Division I level, and so he's got some history and he's got connections and he's got a lot of great players up there, and so that's going to be a challenge. It's in the Riverside tournament. It's one of the toughest tournaments, probably the toughest tournament in the country to play.
It's the toughest tournament in the country because there's 16 teams, and I think in our last show we talked about the Riverside tournament. Chris, in my old office at LACC, it was the only tournament championship trophies that I would display. And we won the Riverside tournament, I think 6 out of 7 years or 7 out of 8. It was a dominant run for Los Angeles City College there. And tremendous, as Coach says, 16 teams, biggest tournament in the country, 16 teams. Wow. Amazing talent. East LA College is opening up with San Jacinto, who started the year ranked number 1 in the state.
Well, they're a perennial power every year. They get pretty much the cream of the crop of JC players pretty much every year.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And they that'll be an interesting game. But you know what? In fact, Chris, when I saw the Rio Hondo East LA game, Coach Springer was at that game scouting.
Oh, I bet he's going to be pretty concerned just on the fact that you guys already beat San Bernardino and Ventura, not to mention a 5-game winning streak.
Well, as Coach Miller tell you, everybody, he's concerned, I'm concerned, everyone's concerned. You never, you always respect any opponent you have. I mean, we played Moore Park College last night, and I mean, I was on pins and needles just, it doesn't matter the record of the team or whatever. These are college players. I don't care what the record is. I mean, all these kids earned a spot at the college level, and you got to respect them no matter how highly they're recruited or whatever they're ranked. And so he has tremendous respect for me, and I got respect for him. And we just do the best we can to prepare. So he's going to be there, and I know he's gotten film on me I've heard he's gotten 3 other films on me, so he respects me that much. And I got film on him, and I went to his first game, actually, when they played Antelope Valley. And got film on him, so it's the utmost respect, and all the coaches respect each other.
But you know what, Scott? When I was at the Rio Hondo game, East LA did win the game at Rio Hondo. East LA didn't play great. It was they won the game. They won the game, deserved to win. Won handily, won by double digits, but they didn't play great. I think Coach Springer walked out probably thinking, well, we're a lot better than East LA, and now of course he knows they've won, beaten some good teams since then. But I think that, and I'm not going to give away any of the East LA secrets here, but I think that Coach Springer may be surprised, Chris, at the level of improvement that East LA has undergone in the last 2 weeks. I think he may be surprised at that level of improvement. Now, that game, John, is that on Tuesday or Wednesday?
That's on Wednesday, so we have to go 4 back-to-back games.
Right.
So we don't get that break.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's how they do this tournament, Chris, because it's 16 teams, and we were in it, I told you all those years. We won it almost every year. Every year but one, we finished 3rd. The year that we finished 3rd, we won the state title, though, so it wasn't there was a consolation prize at the end of that season.
They didn't want to disappoint you twice in one season.
Yeah. So, but here's how they do it, Chris. They have, because it's so many teams, they'll have 4 games, so 8 teams will play on a Tuesday. And what Riverside does is they always put themselves in that Tuesday slot so that they get to rest on Wednesday.
Right.
Then they'll bring in 8 teams, 4 games on Wednesday. Okay, and then
Just like the Maranatha tournament, I just left.
right, and we're going to get to that tonight. I'm sure you'll give us a report on that. Now, what Riverside does though is everybody plays on Thursday, so they split into 2 gyms, the men's and the women's gym. So the losers bracket goes into the women's gym. So Coach Mosley is in the Wednesday bracket. That means for him to win the tournament, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 games in a row. If you're in the Riverside bracket, it's Tuesday, 1 day off, and then 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
So big advantage for the home team, and much more of a disadvantage if you're in the Wednesday bracket. Guess what bracket LA City College was always in?
Wednesday.
Yes. Wednesday. And that was fine because a number of those years we played Riverside in the finals of the tournament, and that was fun to beat them on their home court. And, quite honestly, what happens with that tournament is if you're in the Wednesday bracket and you're playing the semifinals, I remember one year we played San Bernardino Valley, and the coach was Phil Matthews, who's now the coach at Riverside. And we played them in the semifinals on the Friday, and we beat them. And we knew that was the championship already because those are the 2 best teams were playing in our bracket on Friday night. And then we played whoever came out of that other bracket, Chris, Saturday for the finals. But we already knew we beat the best team. And, then we come show up and, it's easy to get the guys motivated to play for first place for a trophy.
Sure.
And so if Coach Mosley can get that East LA through that San Jacinto game, who's in your bracket? Who's next to you?
It's our side. The Wednesday bracket is a monster bracket.
Right.
You got Saddleback, you got San Bernardino, you got San Jacinto. I think it's either Santa Rosa on that side, Pierce. Yeah, our side is pretty loaded with, especially I think the first one, San Bernardino, Antelope Valley. They're at the top of our Wednesday bracket, and I'm at the bottom with San Jacinto, and then I think in the middle it's Pierce and Santa Rosa.
So, who do you play? Let's say whether you win or lose, not to jinx you, but I never like to count my chickens. I don't want to say, when you win, you're going to play.
Sure.
Whether you win or lose, who are the 2 teams next to you in your bracket?
You know what? I believe it's Pierce Cuesta.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Coach. I've been thinking about San Jacinto.
One game at a time.
One game at a time,
Right.
man.
Right. But you know what? I like that. I like Pierce Cuesta.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So that means Saddleback's in your bracket. They're ranked number 1 right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're ranked number 1, and they are really, really good, really loaded, and he's a great coach.
Yeah, I think Coach Andy Brown is the best JC coach in the state by far.
Wow.
I think he's the best JC coach by far in the state. Amazing program he's built there, and does a great job in all aspects: recruiting, defense, offense, running the program, getting guys scholarships. He's got a blueprint that everybody can follow there. He's done a great job. I think he's won 1 state title. I think he's won 1. I know that Bill Brummel won 1. I coached against both these guys, Scott, and both excellent coaches. Saddleback's had a long tradition of excellence on the court, and that'll be a great challenge if you can get to that game, and you can play well enough to get to that game. That'll be a great challenge, and hopefully Chris and I can get out and see it. Chris is my scouting road dog, and he'll give us a report on the Rose City Classic tonight.
Well, if we get to that game, I'm gonna ask you, how do I beat Saddleback?
Well, if it was that easy, huh, Chris? I could just tell you and you'd do it. I mean, if it was that easy, Chris, I'd never lose a game, would I?
If it was that easy, he wouldn't even need your help. He would just tell his team how to do it, and they would just go out and do it.
If it was that easy, I'd never lose a game. Chris, when you played for me, we didn't lose many.
We didn't lose many at all.
What did we lose?
5.
5 in 2 years.
Right.
How many did we win?
You always get me on this.
Try.
31 and 26, so what, 57?
How about
57, 58?
58.
Yeah.
58.
58 and 5.
58 and 5 in 2 years.
Yeah, we didn't lose. In fact, off the top of my head, I still remember every game that we lost.
Okay, hold on. Let me try. Your first year, we were 26-3.
Right.
We lost in the state tournament to Faith Baptist at the end.
State semifinals.
State semifinals at the end to Faith Baptist. Help me out.
We lost in the Campbell Hall tournament.
We did?
Or no, we won that tournament.
We won that tournament.
We won league.
We didn't lose a game in league.
Yeah, we won league.
We didn't lose a game in league.
Wow, I'm actually stumped now.
Yeah, I don't know who we lost to. Now, the next year, your senior year, when we were 32-2, and
We lost to the number one team in the nation, which was the team from South Carolina.
From Bethune, South Carolina.
Right.
We lost to them in the finals of a Big 16 tournament up north.
Right. And then we came back and we lost to Rosemead.
Lost to Rosemead, which is a huge public
5A
school
with 5,000 kids, and we only had 100.
Yeah. But more importantly, I think, Scott, why we lost that game, it was an interesting game. We were 32-2 that year, CIF champions, state champions. We lost both games back to back.
Right.
So we go
we lost we lost that one game. The finals was on Saturday. We flew back down to LA, and I think that Monday or Tuesday
we played.
We played Rosemead, and we were flat.
And
I remember that game, we were flat.
I remember well. And we played them in a tournament. It was the 2:00 game. And it was like, I mean.
No, that was the Rosemead game was just Rosemead. It wasn't a tournament. We just played. That was one of the games that we got a game against.
I thought.
That wasn't a tournament.
I thought it was in a tournament.
It was just them. We just played.
Okay,
we
well
just
then
went there and played them.
Then it was an
early
afternoon game.
Yeah.
And Scott, in the gym that day, I remember it distinctly. There were 3 dogs and a milkman. There was no one else. It was a 2 or 3 o'clock game. No one was there. No one cared. And, we were flat. We had just lost to the number one team in the nation in a pretty close game. I think they beat us by
3 or 4.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
I mean, it was close.
Were the dogs with the milkman?
Yeah, absolutely.
For protection?
Yeah, absolutely. And so
get his milk stolen.
Exactly. So we lost that game, and those 2 games I remember we lost. I can't remember your junior year who we lost to other than Faith Baptist in the state semifinals.
It'll come to me because the weird part was some of the games I'm thinking we're losing. That was my sophomore year because we got revenge like against Whitney and Kate and a couple of other schools. We turned around and beat them my junior year. So that will take some thinking.
Yeah. Well, let's not think about it too much. It'll get me depressed all these years later. It'll get me depressed. I'm sure Coach Mosley's sitting here thinking about those 2 games he dropped to start the year. He's probably thinking, we really lost to them? We really lost to them?
Well, the good part is you got those 2 losses out of your way. So hopefully, for the rest of the year, your team will get better.
It'll get better and better.
Right.
I'm not looking forward to any more losses. Those are hard to swallow with all the winning the coach did. And I don't know how you dealt with losses. I mean, it's pretty tough.
We didn't have very many of them, and so I didn't have to deal with them very often. But it's not pleasant. And you know what? One thing you learn from is you got to get better players. When you lose, it's really highlighted. And I'm Coach Mosley has some pretty good players. I want to give a little shout out to Zach Hinton, who he mentioned earlier. Scott, a local product. Zach is a fine young man. I hope he's listening tonight. Zach's a fine young man, a really aggressive rebounder. He's really developed and come a long way in Coach Mosley's program. We recruited Zach for Los Angeles College Prep Academy out of high school. I recruited him myself pretty heavily, pretty extensively, and saw him play a lot, knew his family. And, I'm so pleased to see how Zach has developed. And Coach Mosley's done a great job at helping him, go, Chris, from kind of a raw high school player, just kind of a boy into a man.
Right.
Now he's a man child. I mean, he's in there. How many rebounds did he have against San Bernardino?
I think he had 12. Yeah, he had 12 against San Bernardino. And they have 4, 6, 9 guys. that he had to go up against, and he's barely. He's close to 6'7". Zach is close to 6'7", and I mean he was just bouncing all over the place.
You have to want the rebounds,
yeah,
to get them.
He has it by nature, and then some of the stuff that we do helped him just excel that what he has inside already. And the coach talked about him being a man physically. Not only that, he's just developed as a man, academically in every which way. He's responsible. You just kind of love those kids who you tell them something once and all of a sudden they just get it. And those are the fun kids to watch develop. And those are the ones that really take off. I mean, you just tell them once. I could never forget he has an online class, and I hope he doesn't get mad I tell this story, but he has an online class, and so we do a grade check. I think it's the second week of school. And so I look at his other grades and I say, hey, what are you getting in this class? Well, it's my online class, coach. And this is when he just first comes in as a freshman last year. And I say, well, what are you getting in it? Well, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Let's go online and see what you got. And so he says, well, I don't know how to log on. And I just literally kind of went off on him. I said, what do you mean you don't know? You've never.
Wait. How are you taking an online class, but you don't know how to log on to the.
Yeah. So this is his second week in college, and I literally sat there about 15, 20 minutes, and we had a conversation. But the interesting part is he got it right away. He kind of looked and he said, man, you're right, coach. And he figured out how to log on, and he got on there, and for some reason, that moment, the academic stuff clicked. It said, Zach, no one's going to tell you. And like Coach Miller knows, those are some of the things that at the community college level you get to do and have an impact on kids. I mean, it's interesting. Never was really taught that the responsibility of handling academics and those different things when nobody's hanging over your shoulder. Yeah. And so we talked about that. And he got it right away, and right now he's on track to be on track for a Division I transfer. And last year
and
graduation, he was all academic in our athletic department.
Oh, that's great.
So that semester, after I got on him, his eyes just lit up. He said, "You're right. I'm sorry, coach." And so those kids you gotta love, the kids that respond right away.
Yeah,
and those online classes can be really tough too.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. If you fall behind. That's a lot of work to get in.
Yeah. No doubt, Scott. Now, special shout out to Zach Hinton and special shout out to Marcus Romaine. Marcus is starting out point guard for you, right, Coach?
Yeah, and Marcus is doing a good job, man. He's a kid that Coach Miller introduced to me, and you always have a kind of in your mind, you think about kids from out of state. You think about some of the tougher kids who know how to play the game and are really just ingrained and just love the game. And what first comes to mind is those kids out in New York and especially the guards. And Marcus is a kid from New York, and he's a guard. He's a true New York guard. He's got the toughness. He's got the swagger. And then he's got a lot of ability, man. He's long. He's about 6'2", and he has the ability to defend multiple positions.
How's his shot selection?
Oh, shot selections is pretty good. I mean, just like any freshman, you got to kind of you put in your system and you let them know, hey, these are the opportunities you're going to have within the system, and he figured it out pretty quick. Yeah, and he has the ability to get it off within the system is amazing.
That's the thing that I always look at with the New York guards. Yeah, because they think every shot is
shot is a good shot, and he is absolutely not that type. And coming in, he wasn't. And no, he was just like a typical freshman in the sense that you had to just show him what were good shots. He wasn't a kid who just kept pounding it and said, "No, this is what I'm going to do," and that's it.
Yeah,
so, nice. Well, you know what, Marcus has come a long way again under Coach Mosley's leadership and tutelage. I saw him. Play a little bit at the beginning of the year, Chris. Now he's dominating. He's one of their best players, and he's got a special talent, special skill set. Hey, our phone number is 1-800-893-9562. If you want to call in and ask a question, our phone number is 1-800-893-9562. We're going to take a very short break. We're going to come back with Coach Mosley for about 10 more minutes, and then we're going to bring in our next guest. We have another exciting guest tonight, Eric Grace, who is doing a blog on the Clippers. He's writing a blog, Scott, and Eric is from Boston. I believe.
Nice. So you know he knows basketball.
Right. He's a Celtics fan, a Celtics guy doing a blog on the Clippers, which is really interesting. And we're going to bring him on next as our next guest. We're going to take a short break and bring back Coach Mosley for about 10 more minutes. And if you have any questions, 1-800-893-9562. Jeremy, give me a short break, please. Let's pay a few bills. Coach Miller, I want to talk to you today about my favorite car dealership located in beautiful Hollywood, California. It's called Gem Motors. Gem Motors is located at 5639 West Sunset Boulevard. If you want a high-end automobile that's at a great price, whether it's a BMW, a Mercedes, a Jaguar, or a Porsche, go to my friends at Gem Motors. They have a beautiful indoor dealership located at 5639 West Sunset Boulevard, right across from Home Depot. Go see my friends at Gem Motors. Tell them Coach Miller sent you and get a special discount. The phone number is area code 323-962-9696. 323-962-9696. Hey, this is Coach Miller. I'm excited to tell you about my new instructional videos that are on DVDs produced and distributed by Scoreboard Media out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Scoreboard Media is a great outfit. They also publish books on recruiting and basketball. But what I want to tell you about is to make sure you get a chance to see my post-play DVDs. If you want to become a better post player, score more in the post, and be more effective for your team, why not check out my DVDs? These great instructional videos will really help improve your game. Scoreboard Media is the place to get them at.
Look, it's time out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships, we winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling, cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss.
Hey, we're back. Welcome back to Time Out with Coach Miller. We're here live in studio with Coach John Mosley from the East Los Angeles Huskies. And what I want to say is I'm proud to have the Huskies in studio tonight.
So now we've had their girls team in, their girls coach and the guys coach in now.
There's a lot of applause here for the Huskies, Chris. We've got a Husky audience here tonight. Now, I don't know. The Huskies are hot right now, Chris. They're 5-0 their last 5 games.
They're definitely trending.
Don't jinx us, Coach.
That's an explosion. Wow, they're hot. So, what do you mean jinx you? Do you think we're going to jinx you?
No, we play hard. We'll just go out and play hard.
That's right. No jinxing here. We're just gonna play hard and do what we need to do, right?
Yep.
So here's the thing. We've got Coach Mosley in the house. Our phone number is 1-800-893-9562. Again, a special shout out to Mr. Robert White Sr. If you're listening, I think you might be. And usually you tune in, and I didn't give you your shout out early enough last time in the show. Hopefully you're getting it now. And if you have a question for Coach Mosley, 1-800-893-9562. We've got him for another few minutes before we bring in our next guest. And it's exciting, Coach, to have you in here. Tell me about your players. Who surprised you the most so far?
You know what's interesting is I have a couple of local kids that has been a surprise. I got a kid, he's actually come around the last couple games with some big rebounds as well. He's from a Royal High School. His name is Primitivo Gomez, and he's rebounded well, and he's coming to an offensive flow. Another kid that, of course, my good friend Coach Miller introduced me to, Jerron Primus, is coming around defensively, and he's starting to hit some shots as well. And he's starting at the 2. So I know you guys had Westchester on a couple shows ago, but that was a big get to get a kid from Westchester High School to come to East Los Angeles College, and And so he's done well. I've seen flashes from all the guys. I won't say we have anybody super great, but we across the board, man, we have some pretty good talent, and all of the guys have shown some flashes. They've all shown flashes and done all the things we need to do to be successful in the big games too. So in the games against San Bernardino and the games against Ventura, they've shown some flashes of big things, and I feel like if they can play in those games, they can play in most of any game that we play throughout the state. So just got to keep getting better. Our guys are, they're excited and fired up about next week, and they actually play well in those big games. So I'm glad our next game is a big game coming up. We had some success last night. We had a fun time. Everybody got a chance to get in the game last night. We played against Moore Park College. We were able to pull away early, and so that gave us an opportunity for everybody to get in and play, and that was fun. And so it's time now to go handle some business when we play San Jacinto next Wednesday. So all the guys are excited about that.
Nice. It sounds exciting, and I wish I could have been there last night to see the beatdown that you gave to Moore Park College. I would have really liked to see that, but I'm going to try to catch one of your games out at the Riverside tournament, of course, and support the Huskies. And
I got it right here. I said it wrong. I'm sorry. I was focused on our game, but I got College of Sequoia versus Pierce. We pay the winner of that game.
Okay.
And then at the top of our bracket is Saddleback versus Antelope Valley, San Bernardino versus Santa Rosa. So possibly we'll meet up with those in the next couple days.
Nice. Well, it sounds like a fun time ahead. I know that Scott, there's nothing better than playing in the Riverside tournament. There's nothing better than that. I'm just telling you, there is nothing better than that tournament. It was always one of the highlights of the year for me as a coach was playing in that tournament. It was an amazing tournament.
I always remember you talking about the tournament when it was time, and I do remember you always having a prominent place for those trophies.
Oh yes.
And I think I remember the year you didn't win it even. Just that you were really not fun to be around for a couple of days.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I've probably just avoided the gym.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. So,
as I run into these coaches, man, you get some coaches that aren't in it. They say, "Oh, wow, you're playing in that tournament. What are you thinking about?" And I don't know. I guess some coaches have different philosophies on it. They say, "Hey, you get too beat up. You're not in good enough condition to play in it." And we try to keep our guys in top condition. I'm excited about going in there and trying to play 4 games. And I think at the end, I'm hoping we'll surge past a lot of those teams. If not by talent, but just by being in, better shape.
Right, I got you.
Not only is that tournament, like you've set yourself up to play so many great teams, prior to conference, you'll be ready for that. But also with the back-to-back, that'll have you prepared at the end of the year also when the schedule gets a lot faster in the tournament.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's how we try to prepare when we, go into practice. I mean, I think any team should. You should try to go into battle back-to-back in practice. If you got 4 days of practice, that's how you want to practice. And I think our guys will be prepared to go in there and put in work, and they're excited about it. They want to win it, and they think they can win it. So it's up to me, I guess, to once I get on the sideline to figure out what we need to do to win. But those guys are ready.
Nice. Listen, let's talk a little bit about, you went out and scouted today. Where did you go? The Mount Sac tournament?
Yeah, I went out to the Mount Sac tournament, and we play Porterville. I believe it's January 3rd or 4th, something like that. We play Porterville College, and so they were out there playing against Pacifica College. And watched that game. I like to get in front of teams and see them live, and I like to see videos so I can kind of go over and over and over. I can kind of rewind and see some of the plays and see the players' tendencies. But I also like to see them live to see kind of how they move and their physicality and what kind of presence they have. So went out and scouted those games, and then I went. The next game was San Francisco, who was actually undefeated all the way to the end last year. Watched San Francisco versus Imperial Valley. So watched that next game. Then I took off to make sure I get down here to Skidrow Studio.
That's right. And we're not really even Skidrow adjacent, Chris. We're in the Jewelry District.
Yeah, Pershing Square.
Yeah, there you go. So, well, it's great to have you on, Coach Mosley. It's good that you've been you've been working all day today. This is the life of a junior college coach, Chris. I mean, this has been, about a 16-hour day for you already?
16-hour day. I woke up at 6 o'clock to break down film. Well, initially I had to, shout out to my wife and kids. I had them at the game last night, and we actually stayed close to the campus in a hotel to kind of have a family night, and then woke up early in the morning, got them off to school, and then broke down film and did a lot of sending film out, and then took off and went scouting all day. So and handled some things on campus. I actually gave the kids the day off.
Nice. Well, it's great to have you in studio with us tonight. And
you're going to be asleep by the time your head hits the pillow.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. Now, it's funny, just as we phase out Coach Mosley tonight, Chris, he mentioned that he saw Porterville play Pacifica College. So I'm looking at, is today the 6th or the 7th, Chris?
Today's the 6th, going into the 7th.
Okay.
6, yeah.
Okay. So Pacifica played West Coast Baptist last night up in Lancaster, a team that we played, our Los Angeles College Prep Academy, beat West Coast Baptist by 6 up there earlier in the year, and West Coast Baptist 94, Pacifica College 78 last night. So, I guess that, West Coast Baptist is playing well, and Pacifica, you said, beat Porterville today?
Yeah, they beat Porterville today.
Wow.
Yeah, I was watching the game. It was some tough, a few guys that were a little bit more mature, maybe some seniors, older.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they actually, Porterville battled all the way down to the end. Yeah.
Did Pacifica look pretty good today?
They look pretty good. They had, like I said, they had some poised, mature players that made plays. And, Porterville had the same. The plays just went, the direction of Pacifica. And they had the momentum. How it goes, those games. I thought it was pretty much even down to the stretch. Pacifica made plays down at the end.
Okay.
To win those games.
Gotcha. Well, Coach Mosley, thank you for coming on our show tonight. We enjoyed having you on, and we'll wish you success next week in the Riverside tournament.
Absolutely. Hopefully at the end of the year, you're wishing me success and you're praising us at the end as well.
And those 2 losses that you occurred at the beginning of the year won't bother you as much.
Yeah, it won't bother me as much,
Well, one way to get over 2 losses is 5 wins.
5 wins. Maybe 10 wins.
Keep it going.
I'm still not over those losses yet.
How about 22 wins?
20, that'll work.
Yeah, that's a great point, Scott. And so, awesome. Great to have you on, Coach Mosley.
Thanks, Coach.
We're going to take a moment to Jeremy. Can you put our theme song on the air, and that'll give us an opportunity for a short break and to bring in our next guest. Can we go with that? This is Coach Mosley, the theme song from Time Out with Coach Miller. Here it goes.
The theme song.
Yeah.
16 made a dream with this basketball. Coach Miller on the court, and we going hard. Pass the rock to the paint. I give it my all to be like Chris Paul. Shoot the 3-point, y'all. Look, it's time out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships, we winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling, cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss. Welcome to the 500 Club. We the best, my whole team tough. Close to 100 Division 1s I built up. Dedication and hard work. Step up to the court, I'm like, who ready to lose first? 14 times champs every year earned. Feet to the court, let me get in my zone. Hands grip to the ball, let me get in control. Non-stop, can't quit, that's a winner's quote. I'ma just keep doing me, hear the crowd as they cheer. 18 out of 19, coach of the year. Time out with Coach Miller, listen clear. 2 times a week, listen to me on the ear. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career. It's time out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships, we winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling, cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yeah. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss. State champs, high school and JC. He was the first coach to do it in California history. Coach Miller, he can beat any team. Got shooters on the court and dunkers dunk everything. He got to win, so the plan is defeat. Been coaching on the court before he turned 18. From 08, going down to 93, he was the conference champs, home of the LACC. Youngest coach to beat 500 teams, 43. Everybody can't do it like he. A coach is something he was destined to be. Now we got a radio show to discuss some things, talking informative conversations. Listen to the real. Tuesday and Friday at night from 10 to 12. A live show, tune in and listen well. Special guests and take audience calls as well.
Hey, welcome back to Time Out with Coach Miller. We are live at Skidrow Studios.
What a great song. Is that available on iTunes too, Coach?
Yes, it is. How do they find that, Scott?
I guess they'd go to iTunes and type in Coach Miller's theme or Time Out with Coach Miller's theme. You gotta find that out. That's your song, you know?
I know it's on iTunes.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
You should come up with a song title for it aside from theme song to Time Out with Coach Miller. Get something like snappy, something that shines right off the computer screen.
You know what? That's a great suggestion. And since little Kevin has disappeared on us and we were unable to get that third verse out of him, Chris, we may have to come up with the title to that song ourselves.
Or maybe let the listeners, if they have some ideas for the song title, the new song title for the theme song to Time Out with Coach Miller, you can call in or write in with your suggestions. And maybe we'll pick it.
That's right. Well, if you want to call in, that number is 1-800-893-9562. We have our next guest live in studio tonight, Scott Gerace. I'm excited to have you on.
It's Eric. I'll go with Scott.
You're looking at me.
I'm looking at Scott,
Eric,
and
Scott
I'm looking at Eric. Eric Gerace, and I'm excited to have Eric in. While I'm looking at you, thinking of Scott, I'm looking at Eric. I'm excited to have Eric in. Eric Gerace is writing a blog on the Los Angeles Clippers, and I think it's a great thing that he's doing. Now, Scott, we just played our theme song in its entirety. We normally don't do that until we close out the show. And, it talks about in the theme song, high school, prep school, small colleges. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip that theme song and jump right to the big leagues, the NBA.
To the pros.
Okay, so we've got Eric in here to help us understand what's going on with the Clippers. Eric, what gave you the idea to start this blog on the Clippers? I think it's kind of exciting. Tell us about your idea. Like, how did this come about?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's pretty simple. I started writing a blog on the Celtics And I named that Sports Oracle blogs, the Sports Oracle. So
wait, you started writing a blog on the Celtics?
I started because I used to live. That's
or should it be
taboo topic.
Should it be?
That sounds more like it.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
First place Celtics.
Okay.
Exactly.
Leading
Shocking.
the Atlantic.
Okay.
Losing record.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
When does this ever happen, right? Losing record in
Thank
first
you,
place.
Chris. So I needed that
That's what
help,
you want to
Chris.
brag about. I let go have at it.
Yeah, Chris is going to let you have it if you would start bragging about that. But
They're not tanking. They're in first place.
okay,
Look sharp.
So Eric, you decided you started writing a blog on the Clippers then, or
Yeah,
on the Celtics.
Because what happened is I moved out here, and finding a Celtics fan out here is definitely most challenging. Go to a sports bar, and that's like the last game that they put on the air, is the Celtics game.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, this is a funny story. I was actually watching the Celtics Heat game this year, and I don't know if you remember this, but
the one we won?
Jeff Green hit the shot with like 1 second left. Well, they were down by like 6 points.
Correction, with
0.08 seconds or something.
0.04 seconds.
As the most monumental win of the year for him, put him on the map, as a legit team coming back.
And now they're in first place.
As who a legit team?
The Celtics are legit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they were supposed to be, you listen to all the
Celtics fans, call in.
The experts were all saying that they were doomed for last
They're
place.
all asleep.
Putting Brooklyn ahead of them. It was just, they basically were definitely giving the short end of the stick coming in. But, what it was is that, going back to that, these managers at Buffalo Wild Wings wouldn't even air the end of the game because they thought it was over.
Yeah.
So they were down by 6, and then here we are in the last 0.8 of a second, and they turn it off. And I'm actually looking at the game on my smartphone on ESPN Gamecast.
Yep.
And I see that they actually win. And, even in ESPN Gamecast, they don't even list 0.08 seconds. They actually show
0.04.
No, they just show 0 seconds on the ESPN Gamecast. And, then he hits the shot to win.
Yep.
And so I was just like, wow, that's unbelievable.
I remember that game. I was back in Boston, and I was out to dinner, and I got home with 0.04 seconds left just as they were doing the inbounds play. And that was one of the most amazing plays. That's better than any single play that the Lakers have done this year.
Wait, Chris, are you going to allow this to go on?
Chris, what do you got to say?
A team with a losing record that's in first place, they can't tell me anything. So I'm here, but I'm not really here right now.
They got one of my favorite coaches, Brad Stevens. But then again, the Clippers have a great coach too, in Doc Rivers. And, I understand that's why you kind of shifted towards.
Yeah, Rivers to
writing
LA
about
is the
the
name of the
Clippers.
blog. That's the Rivers to LA blog spot. But you can just bing Rivers to LA and it'll come up. And, I just try to take a look at a different perspective. That's all I do. I try to look at it from how a coach would look at the game, but at the same time, write it simple enough that any fan can understand. So with the Rivers to LA blog, I'm just trying to highlight, stats, obviously key in on major points that happened during the game. Who actually played the best and who was underrated. I try to basically look at the things that everybody can look and understand, but actually go a little deeper and then break it down from a fan perspective.
So do you have background coaching or writing, or like what led you into
That's a great question. Actually,
blogging?
I've actually grew up, of course, watching the Celtics.
Sure.
Grew up playing basketball.
Eric, are you from Boston?
I'm not. Actually, my uncle is from New Hampshire, and he grew me watching the Celtics because back in Florida, back in the 80s, there was no expansion NBA team.
Sure.
So it's like I had to rely on somebody. And
You had the Hawks.
Yeah, nobody. Doc Rivers and his, of course, watching the Celtics play the Hawks and stuff, and in the conference finals.
Sure.
Those were all good years. But what I try to focus on here with the with the Clippers is who's their key matchups every night. Like for instance, the other night they went in overtime against Sacramento. They beat them by like 3 or 4 points in overtime, and going into that overtime segment, actually pretty much Sacramento was outplaying them for most of the game, and leading into that overtime, there was certain things that happened that I blog about. And some of those things were like, Blake Griffin, of course, everybody knows him for his thunderous dunks. And
Sure.
I always go into stuff other than that. Like, well, there was some defensive breakdowns that led to easy layups that, sent the game to overtime, for instance. In the overtime frame, I just try to highlight certain things that, that would be covered. Like, for instance, on ESPN, like, okay, this 10-2 or 5-0 run with 2 minutes left, let the Sacramento Kings actually run away with the game or something similar to that. But in that game, the Clippers won. But, if you could read my segment, I try to break it down and try to go into a little detail about what really happened.
Yeah, and really the Clippers should not be going to overtime with Sacramento. Sacramento stinks.
That's what you think, right? But,
they'd be in like third place in the Atlantic Division.
That's true. And, I look at just the Celtics now, and they're rebuilding.
Yeah,
and
yet they're in first place.
And it's just it's just amazing because, that team was supposed to be worse than the Nets.
They were supposed to be a lot worse than the Nets.
And so I'm actually shocked that Brad Stevens has done as well as he has. And I think they're actually going to be in first place at the end of the season.
Well, when they get Rondo back, now you have a whole bunch of young players. Sullinger has been fantastic. He's
unbelievable.
Refused to allow any talk of tanking the season for a lottery pick. And, the GM for, I don't know who to thank, the GM for the Nets or the owner of the Nets for making such a stupid trade, giving up so many first-round picks that the Nets will be worse than the Cavaliers were in the 80s.
Well, Scott, I want to just make a comment that I don't think that Boston can even think about tanking for
they can't. Even if they tried to tank, they would still make the playoffs.
But that's number one, Chris.
Good.
But moreover, New York and Brooklyn are so bad that Boston, even if they wanted to tank to get the number one pick, couldn't succeed.
Right.
Because you've got New York and Brooklyn out there. Okay, now let's look at these standings, Chris. Like you said, Boston is in the Atlantic Division. They're 9-12. They're
in first place.
And they've got
a distance.
They've got a 1.5 game lead.
Well, the one thing also is though, I love the fact that they're in first place and they're refusing to tank, even though logic of modern NBA, especially with the stacked lottery this year, logic would say throw the season away and get that high pick. But when you do that with a bunch of young players, you're already teaching them to quit. And players should always be focused on winning and not focused on, getting a high lottery pick. And now, thanks to the Nets, we'll have high lottery picks like 3 or 4 times. And meanwhile, they'll be joining players that play to win. Because to me, that's the worst part of the sport is watching teams throw away games. Like, if you're not trying to win, then why are you even playing? It's not fair to the fans, the season ticket holders. And
well, see, I would disagree with that because I don't think that they're tanking games that they're not trying to win. A lot of teams, what they're doing are they know they have no chance, so they're playing younger players. So it's not like these younger players are out there trying to lose the game. They're just not. They're not good. I mean, for some of these teams, it makes no sense to, like, if you have a person coming back off an injury, like one of your starter players, to rush him back off of an injury. Let your lesser players keep playing. I mean, they're playing hard. They're just not any good. And so that's not tanking. Tanking is you're intentionally trying to lose. You're not trying to win the game. These players are trying to win the game. They're just not any good. So these teams that are just playing their young players, I don't fault them for that. I mean, I would try to do that too to get because this year's draft is kind of stacked. So I would take offense to that tanking label that you're labeling some of these players on because I don't see it as tanking.
How about the Knicks?
they're not tanking. They're playing hard. They're just not a good team.
Yeah.
They're not trying to lose the game. They're trying to win games. They're just a horrible team.
They don't have Jeremy Lin. No, they don't have Jason Kidd, actually. Jason Kidd last year.
I love Boston
He
sports
made
fans. This is the best show ever.
No, Jason Kidd last year actually added a big dimension to them as far as his leadership. He could actually, there's intangibles that he brought. Last year they played a lot better as a unit. This year, it seems like they're all over the place in terms of they don't know who's stepping up and who's actually going to be.
The funny thing about this season, talking about tanking, is if I were to accuse any team of tanking in the NBA based on the way they've played this year, I would say the Nets, except they don't have their first-round pick this year. They just stink.
Yeah, they're really bad.
This is how weak the East is. So I just can't.
Yeah, I'm looking
I
at
can't.
two.
Yeah, this is the Lakers are out. They're not even. They're hoping to make the playoffs right now, 10-9. Okay,
And they get
they're
Kobe back.
Are they
they're
12?
2.5 games out of first place behind the Clippers.
Okay.
But in the West, they're like the 10th team right now. They'd be the 4th seeded team in the East.
Celtics are the 4th seed.
There's only three. There's only
They could be
three.
500
There's only
niggas.
3 teams in the East with a winning record. That's horrible.
Oh, it's totally bad.
Chris, Indiana, dominant team, 17-2. Miami,
And Atlanta.
14-5, and Atlanta
Celtics beat Miami.
Atlanta barely over 500.
One game
and
on fire.
Celtics beat Atlanta, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
my.
recently.
And
Oh, my.
there's not even another team in the East with double-digit wins besides those 3.
Celtics won today.
Yeah, even the
They're
Bulls.
almost-
They're
Um,
9-12.
They're almost
this,
at 10.
this is horrible.
It is horrible.
I mean, it's over a quarter of the season.
And in the West, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 teams with double-digit wins, and the Lakers are 11th out of that list.
Yeah.
But they'd be 3rd, 4th in the East. Garbage.
So what do you think's happening there, Coach Miller?
I don't know.
What's going on with the
I'm not an NBA expert, but I know that we are excited to discuss the NBA. We had another guest in earlier. Maybe it was last month, Clipper guy,
About a month and a half ago.
month and a half ago, John Rieger, who did a nice job explaining the Clippers to us, and this is great that we've got Eric in here tonight as well.
I kind of want to touch a little bit on the blog more about just why I think the Clippers are probably maybe 2 or 3 in contention for the championship this year. You look at their backcourt, and I think it's the deepest in all the Western Conference. They've got.
Well, certainly they've got the best guard in Chris Paul. I've got to give them that.
That's a good starting point.
Crawford has actually just taken off since Redick's been out.
But I would argue they lost the heart and soul of their team from last year, which would be Bledsoe.
Bledsoe, yeah.
I would argue he was the glue that held him, and Caron Butler were the two. I mean, Chris Paul, of course. Butler and Bledsoe, to me, were the glue of that team last year. And I think it's gonna show later on that they're gonna miss those two.
I agree. I also know that Redick is clutch. That guy. Even when the Celtics played him in the conference finals, 2 years ago, he would actually come up with some back-breaking threes.
I thought Redick was going to join the Celtics.
That would have been great
Actually.
too. Yeah, he'd fit right in too.
He'd be a good Celtic.
So then they have Redick, and then they got Darren Collison, and I mean,
Yeah.
I think that was a good pickup for him.
Good Bruin.
he can penetrate, he can dish, just like Paul. I mean, when Paul's not on the floor, he can dice up the defense.
He's a starter on any team in the Atlantic Conference aside from Celtics.
Yeah, I agree. And then of course they've got the other. Who's the other one? They got Willie Green. Willie Green. So they got a loaded backcourt, and they have Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, but this is what I think their flaw is, to be honest.
Both of them don't have a go-to move.
You got it. I mean, they have great athleticism, and they can block a shot from anywhere and obviously jump through the roof, but sometimes their defense is a little suspect, and they let a lot of layups go behind the back and back.
Well, once the playoffs start, that's when. See, the Clippers are going to always be a great regular season team because they run up and down, they score a lot. You got Lob City, you got the dunks, you got the highlights, the Sports Center, top 10 plays. But once you get to the playoffs, you got to learn how to play half-court basketball. Yeah. And, I mean, especially in the West where you have the Thunder, I hate to say it, but the Spurs, the
Blazers.
even the Blazers are coming on this year. Even with Golden State. I mean, Golden State can pound you inside with Harrison Barnes and a couple other those guys
David
inside.
Lee.
You're right. And so that's their weakness. That's always going to be exposed as their weakness is that they don't have any low post presence. I mean, those two guys combined don't scare you down low.
Right.
Both of them still don't have a go-to move.
Yep.
If they're not dunking the ball, I'm not worried about their jumper. I'm not worried about their post moves.
Right.
Not worried about them on the free throw line.
And that's what, definitely not worried about them on the free throw line.
Of course not, no.
And that's where their Achilles heel is going to be every year in the playoffs because it's half-court basketball. You don't run like that. Like the Lakers were Showtime, but they can grind you down also in the half court. Even the Kobe Lakers, the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, they would get up and down and shoot. But in the half court, they will grind you down. And that's where I think their Achilles heels is.
It's going to be interesting to see how physical they are in the playoffs because if you remember when they played Memphis, Memphis always had their number. And, frankly, Randolph would pretty much out-muscle Griffin.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that play last year for the loose ball where, basically it was, I don't know which third or fourth game. And, Randolph ends up out-muscling and falling down on top of Griffin. And it was kind of like he wrestled the ball away. And it kind of was just like the signature turning event for the whole series because it just seemed like the Clippers could not physically out-muscle.
Yeah, well, Memphis is a big, tough team, too.
Yeah, you got Gasol. You got, obviously,
you can just start in with Randolph and Gasol. I mean, those two right there are just going to just wear you out in the paint all night. You know what I mean? So...
Now, I didn't see it. I don't know if any of you saw the game recently. The Clippers just beat Memphis in Memphis, which was pretty shocking.
And that was isn't that the second time they beat them so far this year? I think they beat them once back out here earlier in the season too.
Yeah, you're going to catch me here off guard since I just moved back.
I mean, I don't watch it. I follow. Yeah. It's still football season for me, so I'm Bruins and Cowboys all day. But,
Patriots,
Bruins and Cowboys. That's even more mixed than I got.
But I follow basketball through the highlights on Sports Center in the morning, and I think they played once earlier this year, and the Clippers got them again. But like I said, it's going to be real interesting once the season starts kicking up, and you start getting into. January, February, March.
Exactly.
Playoff basketball starts.
And those post players don't play D on the Clippers.
That's what it is. There was actually go ahead.
Rivers always had good defensive coaches, like defensive assistants, whether it was Tom Thibodeau,
That's right.
coaching Chicago.
Doing a great job with the Bulls.
Lawrence Frank, who...
great defensive coach.
Yep.
Thibodeau.
And, and that's what those two guys need. I mean, if those two guys learn to play defense, Griffin doesn't play any defense.
None.
And that's a huge flaw in his game. He's really one-dimensional player that's just a superb, raw talent, but his game has not improved a lick in 3 years.
One could argue, Scott, he doesn't play offense either. He just dunks the ball.
Exactly. Yeah. And then,
although in his defense, I think he's got a good outside shot. He can pretty much stick the open jumper.
He has a respectable outside shot.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to shoot.
They'll still back off of him and give him that shot.
Sure.
That 15-footer is not scaring anybody.
And if you can't hit free throws, there's no reason not to just slam you when you go up for a dunk. I mean, you might as well just put a big elbow on him because he's not going to make the free throws.
I think this is his actually best year. I think he's at 65% this year from free throw. That's
still not acceptable.
Yeah,
and those are
turnovers. As many times as he goes to the line.
Those are turnovers.
Yeah, you're right.
And DeAndre Jordan has 0 offensive 55%. Game, and he was a good player like right from when he came up. But even like when they were talking about sending him to the Celtics, I was like, oh, God, no. I'd rather just have draft picks.
Yeah. Yeah, so, one of the things I try to talk about in the blog is, will their defense actually come forward and unify? I mean, are they going to be the same Clippers as last year, where they'll make that first round entrance and then bow out to the Spurs or anybody? Portland is amazing. Could they handle Portland in the playoffs right now? Probably not.
How long have you been following the Clippers?
Honestly, just since the beginning of the year. So I've been, digging into the numbers and just trying to, find correlations, trying to figure out, where their strengths are, where the weaknesses are. And, they have exciting talent. It's just, what do you think is going to happen with their defense when playoffs come around?
Yeah. I used to love going to the Clipper games when they played at the sports arena. Back when they stunk and nobody.
Back when you could walk in past security, they'd give you a free pass.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And or you get a $4 ticket and you just walk down the stairs to the court and Elgin Baylor's there and you can say, "Hi, Elgin, how you doing?" And he's just glad someone's there. And you'd sit right next to the Clippers bench. Right. And I remember looking at Bill Fitch drawing up plays when he was coaching, and he had the ring on and. Yeah, and you would see the players on the Clippers. They were so bad back then and so undisciplined that I remember Hollywood Robinson, one of their big free agents.
Okay.
And it was
that 80s or 90s or what?
I think that would be like
80s.
No, a little bit past the 80s. I didn't move here till I wouldn't have been going.
Bill Fitch was there in the late 80s, early 90s.
This was the late 90s. It would have been, and
Bill Fitch wasn't there then.
Maybe it was when.
Is that after the Rockets?
When Ike Austin was traded to the Clippers. I was at that game, and Bill Fitch was the coach because I remember we were watching him draw up the play, and Hollywood Robinson turned to my friend and I and started talking to us while Bill Fitch is drawing up his play, and he's going like, "Man, I can't believe that they brought in another guard, that's so disrespectful. How am I supposed to feel?" And meanwhile, Bill Fitch is kind of telling everybody else on the bench what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
And I wasn't surprised to see Hollywood shipped off to Yakima or whatever CBA outpost he ended up in.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, but a good true story, Scott. Listen, Jeremy, we're going to take I think the phone is ringing. I hear it.
Phone ringing.
Yeah.
Your phone ringing.
The phone is ringing.
Hey, your phone ringing.
Yeah, it's ringing.
Hey,
got it.
So what we need to do is that means it's time for a break, and when we come back, we'll have a little more of our special guest Eric, and let's talk a little bit more about his blog. And it's an exciting blog. It's sort of this Celtics spawned though Clippers blog, which is kind of weird to me. So since I've got Scott here from Boston over here, and who's really a true Celtics guy through and through.
But the Clippers were always my second favorite.
Okay. Chris, you see how Scott spins this stuff? He is a professional storyteller, I might add.
I've been to a lot of Clipper games.
Okay, let's do this. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have a little more of our guest, Eric, not Scott. It's Eric, not Scott.
Scott Eric.
I'm clear on that now, and we will be back soon. Thanks, Jeremy. Run the commercial. Pay some bills. Hey, it's Coach Miller. Welcome to Gem Motors, one of our proud sponsors of Time Out with Coach Miller. I'm here in the Gem Motors showroom in beautiful Hollywood, California on Sunset Boulevard. Come down and visit my friends at Gem Motors. They're located at 5639 Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, California.
State champs, high school and JC. He was the first coach to do it in California history. Coach Miller, he can beat any team. Got shooters on the court and dunkers dunk everything. He got to win, so the plan is defeat. Been coaching on the court before he turned 18. From 08, going down to 93, he was the conference champs, home of the LACC. Youngest coach to beat 500 teams, 43. Everybody can't do it like he. A coach is something he was destined to be. Now we got a radio show to discuss some things, talking informative conversations. Listen to the real. Tuesday and Friday at night from 10 to 12. A live show, tune in and listen well. Special guests and take audience calls as well.
Oh, yo.
They're all hard ice. That's all right.
And we're back to Time Out with Coach Miller, and we're here with Eric Garacci. Garacci?
Garacci is actually the Italian, the northeastern pronunciation.
Oh, and how did I pronounce it?
It goes back to the roots, the full Italiano.
And I pronounced the Mongolian way.
Just don't say Garris. That's really plain and generic.
I'm going to go with Garace.
Garace is fine.
Yeah.
The hard instead of the soft G.
And Eric has a Clippers blog. It's Rivers2LA, the number 2, rivers2la.blogspot.com. And, you know, I'm a blogger, too. I have a long-distance Greyhound bus travel story blog called The Long Ride with 4 O's, LOOOOOONGRIDE.com.
You know what I could always remember about my Greyhound experiences? There was always one guy that would smuggle in the malt liquor in the back.
Oh, yeah, or the Four Loko.
The Four Loko, you know, riding steady all the way back. And there was always the guy that, of course, you know, he never had a bath in the last week.
One guy, try like 13 or 14 guys, you know. And now you get women that are like coming off of their opiate addictions. That's like the new thing that you get on Greyhound.
That's
Our
on the
newest
way,
feature, Wi-Fi and people that are strung out on OxyContin. Ride Greyhound.
Just out of detox. Fresh out.
You know what, Chris? There's a little bit more Greyhound information here than I'd care to know.
And I would ever want to know.
Have you ever taken your teams on Greyhound to tournaments?
No.
No, not on Greyhound.
I bet if LA City had a team now, though, they'd have to go Greyhound.
Yeah, you might be right about that. I'm not going to debate that with you, but let's talk a little bit more about the origins of this blog. So I kind of like the name. Give us the name again. It's
Rivers2LA.
Rivers2LA.blogspot.com.
Right.
Okay. So this is really Celtics based, isn't it? Because it's Doc Rivers to LA. You know what? I have been saying for years, I think Doc Rivers is one of the 3 best coaches in the NBA.
Oh, he's one of 3 coaches with the ring.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Well, wait a second. Hold on.
Rivers, Popovich.
Well, Popovich has about 5 or 6, but
Spelstra.
4.
Our guy at Miami has
Dose.
2.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that it?
Yeah, because the Lakers won.
Wait. Are you guys telling me there's no other NBA head coach that has a ring?
I don't think so.
No, because since 2000, only 3 teams have won: the Lakers, San Antonio, and Miami.
Oh,
And
Rick
Boston.
Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle has a ring. Dallas.
Former Celtic.
Oh, with Dallas, yeah.
Dallas
won one.
Yeah, Dallas won.
He came up through the Celtics ranks.
And then
Okay.
Pop won the one before the Lakers won on the three-peat. So we haven't had a...
Maybe they should bring Rudy Tom back.
And then Phil won the 3 before that. So, yeah. So there's only 4 coaches in the NBA right now with rings.
Nice.
And they're all very good coaches.
Or maybe that's why we have more parity, like the sub 500 records. Coaches that.
I think that's bad management of salary cap.
I think, well, I remember when I played for Coach Miller in high school, and we couldn't wait to watch college, pro games. I mean, you know, back then, this is the late 80s, early 90s. So, you know, back then it was still Detroit, Lakers.
Chicago.
I mean, of course, the Lakers. Chicago was still
Just on the rise.
Yeah, they were just coming up, but they couldn't get past They were just getting past Boston, but they couldn't get past Detroit yet. But you know, back then there was really good basketball games. I mean, you would watch a Hawks Trailblazer game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, you know, some random game.
Sure.
The game now is horrible.
Yeah,
I mean, I cannot watch pro basketball outside. I mean, because I'm a Laker fan, I'm always watching the Lakers. But any other team, I can't watch it.
You know, this is something I wanted to talk about, and I actually talked to Coach Miller about this. He probably remembers the conversation. We were talking about fundamentals of the players growing up now. And, you go into a gym now, and instead of like these kids working on the fundamentals, they're working on stutter steps and shooting off balance and shooting with bad form and fallaways from,
I was just I've been at the Maranatha High School basketball tournament all week. I've probably seen double-digit games this whole week. And I was doing some scouting for a friend of mine because they're playing one of the teams that later on in the year that is in that tournament. And I was telling them these kids have no fundamentals, and you would think that they would have they would be more advanced because they play more games now. With the AAU teams and the travel teams, and you would think that they would be better players, but they're not. I mean, I'm looking at these kids now, and I'm like, literally, I'm telling people, I'm like, this is garbage. They have no footwork, like.
Right, they don't get down on defense.
Right,
I mean, move their feet.
When I played for Coach Miller, we would literally work on fundamentals. I mean, we would have like 3-4 hour practices anyway, and I mean, for the first half hour was all fundamental, was footwork, dribbling, shooting,
passing, catching.
Catching.
Yeah,
that's a big.
I mean, literally, we would have drills catching the ball, like pass catch. I mean, these were drills that we did daily, and some teams they would do it at the beginning of the year, and then they trail off from it, and they do it, sparingly here and there, and they work on more plays. I mean, we literally did this all year round for the 2 years I played for them, and it's like I'm looking at these kids now. And the biggest thing I see is just like footwork, making a simple bounce pass when, why would you throw a chest pass in the key?
Right.
With everybody with their hands up. Yeah, it's just the fundamentals have gone. Right. And you're seeing it at the high school level, then you see it at the college level, and then in college, they don't really get to work on it, and then you have so many one and dones in college, and now they're going to the NBA, and the NBA game is it's unwatchable to me. It's just unbearable. Yeah, I am whining about it. I lost my favorite game. I mean, I literally don't watch basketball anymore. I watch soccer more than I watch basketball now.
I've been noticing those soccer reports on your Facebook.
ESPN Deportivas.
I watch soccer every week. I watch more soccer than I do. I watch more soccer in a week than I do in a month of basketball.
Right. I understand. I would love to open that one up to the forum. I mean, it seems like the kids, they'll try to learn too fast before they can get the fundamental steps down. So instead of doing a crossover to a jump shot, then they'll try to do a stutter step, crossover, and then they won't have any consistency or something like that.
Everybody wants the ESPN highlight play, but nobody wants to shoot the 15-footer.
Yeah.
Nobody has a mid-range game anymore.
Nobody.
Yeah.
We don't need no.
I mean, I seen a kid. He's a really good player, and if I get a chance to talk about this tournament later on, I will. But
let's talk about it now.
He'll come.
Let's talk about it now while we have time.
This kid. Okay, well, like I said, I've been at the Maranatha tournament all week, so.
Actually, it's the Rose City Classic.
The Rose City Classic at Maranatha, and some pretty good games. Tonight's semifinal was. Chino Hills beating Silmar tonight. I don't have the scores in front of me. And in the late game was Price barely losing to Cantwell. So the finals tomorrow will be tomorrow night at 8:00 will be Cantwell versus Chino Hills. Chino Hills has a really good team. They have the Ball brothers, Lonzo, and I forget what his brother's name is. 2 6'5", 6'4" guards that are freshmen and sophomores that are amazing. I mean, they're really good players. But like Coach Miller just said, they don't have a mid-range game. It's either we're going to the layup or we're going to shoot a 25-footer when the three-point line is only 19 feet away. But nobody has a 15-footer anymore.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Nobody. They're just playing. Nobody's teaching.
Right.
Nobody's teaching. You just have kids that are playing right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my opinion. But you just have kids that they're just playing basketball. They're not learning basketball. Right. And then you can see it through each level, the high school game, the college game, and the pro game, all the way up. And so by the time these guys get to the pros, it's just like, you could tell it's all they have are dunks, Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, or they could shoot. But, very few players. You've had very few Steph Currys.
Right.
Very few Klay Thompsons. You know what I mean? So it's just, the game is just getting bad.
You know the move that has disappeared that I don't see anymore? It's the up and under. It's like the ball fake and then up and under, or, you got a pump fake and then a dribble around. I mean, those are rare. It seems like the low post moves of the Kevin McHale days, and this doesn't seem like they're around anymore.
Yeah, I used to, when I lived in Hawaii, I used to help out at the Pete Newell Big Man Camp. And you see these guys come in, and I mean, they would literally, you'd see them, guys, multi-million-dollar contracts, tripping over their own feet, trying to make post moves because nobody's ever taught them.
Right.
They're 6'9", 6'10", 7 foot, and they've always been taller than everybody else, so they didn't have to work on anything.
That's why ASIC should have, kind of set his ego aside and stayed with the Rockets. He's been demanding trade because he didn't like being benched, because the dude doesn't really have a great offensive game, and he's got one of the greatest, big men of all time, coaching, who could teach him so many great offensive moves that, he could become like a real player, not like a $10 million player, but a max, dominate both sides of the court player with Kevin McHale as the coach.
Sure.
But
I understand they're shopping him, though.
Yeah, well, it's because ASIC demanded a trade. He called himself out of the lineup. He didn't like being on the bench. And, he's a one-dimensional player. And, he has an opportunity to be a multi-dimensional player. But, you can't force a guy to be a star.
What do you think Dwight Howard's going to do with the team?
I think he'll be good. He's a good player. I thought he was good last year. He wasn't as good as he was, his previous years, but he's coming back from, back surgery. And
he's still Dwight Howard.
And he still has he's in the
still
same.
Can jump through the roof.
He's in the same conversation with Blake Griffin. No go-to post move.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he needs 2 points, what is he going to go to? And
you got a jump hook, running jump kind of
lightweight.
No,
not really a solid
really
jump
have
hook.
A shot that
not
I
like a Patrick Ewing
to.
hook or Keem Olajuwon, just kind of
or a Kevin Love three-pointer.
Right.
I mean, Kevin Love is the perfect center these days, for NBA basketball.
And I mean, even I was reading a story on Bleacher Report on my iPhone where, Akeem Olajuwon was kind of upset at him because they worked all summer and he's not putting into use what he worked on. So why work on it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting for him. Yeah. It's going to be interesting for him.
If you can't learn from two Hall of Famer big men like, McHale and Olajuwon, you're not going to learn from anybody. I mean, what more do you need, for incentive to win, aside from the fact that he's never won anywhere he's gone? He wants to be the man, but, he's not capable of taking on the responsibility needed to be the man, aside from the contract. He's a great second banana. He's probably the best second banana in the NBA, but unfortunately James Harden is really not the best top guy.
Right.
He's a good, he could be a top guy, but
he's explosive, but maybe not the top elite.
But I'd put him in the top 10. It's just that Howard is not a good teammate.
Yeah, he's a better supporting cast.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Scott? Let's get back to this blog.
Have you read any of it yet?
I've looked at it.
What do you think?
I
Point some stuff out.
We don't have time now for that with a minute and 40 seconds left on our clock. But what we do have time for is to encourage our listeners to go and check out the blog themselves. And how do they find that blog?
They go to Rivers2LA, the number 2, rivers2la.blogspot.com.
Okay, now when they go there, they're going to see Eric's work, and I think when they see it, they're going to like it and they'll want to go back. Okay, Well, while we're talking about blogs, I want to give a plug out to Scott's blog, too. And
Long Ride.
with how many O's?
4 O's.
With 4 O's. Long Ride.
The number 1 travel blog dealing with Greyhound interstate travel in the world.
got a theme song?
In the world.
Do you have a theme song for it?
I do have a theme song
Okay, what
for
is it?
Yes, he does.
I got to hear this.
Let's play it, Scott.
Okay, I have to turn to it.
I don't know if we're going to have time, but we
I'll hit it on this one. It's faster.
Okay. Okay. So can we hear it?
Oh, it's
I'm
not-
getting excited.
It's getting there. Wait, let's see here. I have to go to. I'm WordPress blogger. Let's see. Let me turn to it. Longride.com. OONG.
So how many Clipper games do you go to a year? Do you go to quite a few, or do you watch?
Usually on the
some of them?
Celtics ones.
Huh?
Usually on the Celtics Clippers.
Me too.
So
They-
do you
they
do
usually
your blog?
they would always
I mean,
beat the
from
Celtics.
watching the games on TV, or is that how you? get
Yeah, I
there
watch
from-
it, and I just watch it, and I log everything.
Oh, okay.
Everything. Stats, everything.
Scott, we're out
Get
of time.
excited.
Oh man.
Scott, we're out of time, and unfortunately, we cannot play your blog theme song
I'll play it next time.
next time. Jeremy, what I want to do before we get into our theme song to close our show is I want to give a special shout out, Chris, to Victor Valley College, Victor Valley Junior College. They're 7-1 on the year. Okay. Their one loss is in overtime by 1 point, okay, to Pasadena City College. You're one of your, your stomping grounds.
I found my
Did go
theme
to
music.
PCC.
Okay, so I
One
want
of my
to.
6 different JCs that I went to.
There you go. I want to give a special shout out to Victor Valley College, 7-1 on the year with a 1 point loss in overtime, or they'd be 8-0. Victor Valley College is a school that we played this year, that our team played, Los Angeles College Prep, up at Victor Valley College, and we beat them by 13.
Wow.
So, I got to root for them.
I think now that basketball's starting, we're going to have a special segment toward the end of the show where we shout out probably about 2 or 3 teams each. So we might have to start doing our homework now and get these people get these teams some recognition.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like that. I like that plan. And anyway, I want to thank our listeners for tuning in tonight or watching, whichever they may have done. And I want to thank Jeremy in the sound booth for doing a great job. And I want to thank our special guest tonight, Coach John Mosley, and Eric, not Scott, Eric Grace.
With his clipper tie on.
With his clipper tie on. Of course, I want to thank
Signature clipper tie.
Of course, I want to thank Scott Schultz, my special guest co-host, and I want to thank.
I got theme music.
Jeremy,
You're not going to hit it.
Jeremy, your
you're not
Christmas
gonna have
party is
time for
tomorrow
that.
night, right?
Okay.
Do you have the ambulance standing by? Because I know somebody's going down at this party.
That's right.
Yeah, they'll be standing by.
Okay, nice. Jeremy, let's close out our show. Thank you for putting us on the air tonight and doing a great job in the sound booth. And Scott's theme song is going to have to wait until next week. Okay? Let's close it, Jeremy.
16 made a dream with this basketball. Coach Miller on the court, and we going hard. Pass the rock to the paint. I give him my all, or be like Chris Paul, shoot the 3-point, y'all. Look, it's time out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships, we winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling, cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss. Welcome to the 500 Club. We the best, my whole team tough. Close to 100 Division 1s I built up. Dedication and hard work. Step up to the court, I'm like, who ready to lose first? 14 times champs every year earned. Feet to the court, let me get in my zone. Hands grip to the ball, let me get in control. Non-stop, can't quit, that's a winner's quote. I'ma just keep doing me, hear the crowd as they cheer. 18 out of 19, coach of the year. Time out with Coach Miller, listen clear. 2 times a week, listen to me on the ear. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career. It's time out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships, we winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling, cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss. State champs, high school and JC. He was the first coach to do it in California history. Coach Miller, he can beat any team. Got shooters on the court and dunkers dunk everything. He got to win, so the plan is defeat. Been coaching on the court before he turned 18. From 08, going down to 93, he was the conference champs, home of the LACC. Youngest coach to beat 500 teams, 43. Everybody can't do it like he. A coach is something he was destined to be. Now we got a radio show to discuss some things, talking informative conversations. Listen to the real. Tuesday and Friday at night from 10 to 12. A live show, tune in and listen well. Special guests and take audience calls as well.